I'm Scott Green, and as of today, I'm the 19th president of the University of Idaho, and I'm excited to get started. Well, the mission of the University of Idaho is a land-grant mission, which means that we conduct research, teaching, and outreach throughout the state. So it's a very important mission. It's one I take very seriously and one I'm very supportive of and will continue to invest in. I'm looking forward to working with our faculty and staff at the university. We truly have dedicated people here. They've stuck with us through thick and thin and came to work every day and provided just a great education to our students and a great experience for our students and supported them. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm really looking forward to continuing to work with them and to build on their success. Every Vandal I've talked to has a personal story, how the University of Idaho elevated them, gave them opportunities that they thought were never possible. It's truly a special place. And again, everyone has a special story, and that's what makes this place different. Go Vandals!
I had to lace my shoes for all the blessings I was chasing.
Drinking with Daddy Green.
I had to lace my shoes for all the blessings I was chasing.
Drinking with Daddy Green.
Oddly enough, back to truth and transparency.
President Green was just cold booger pimping.
Welcome. Can you hear me there, Miss Bella?
I can hear you.
Happy
Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's Eve. We just got a couple hours here. So before the big, people other places maybe have already celebrated. So I want to say Happy New Year's to everybody. Happy New Year's Eve to everybody. This episode is episode 2 of a 5-part. And we're going to be picking up kind of right where we left off. But again, just wanted to say hello to everybody. Thank you for being here. And to the members, mods, subscribers, again, special thanks to all of you guys making 2023 a special place to be when you're at this channel. So thank you for that. You guys made all the difference in the world for 2023, and it's only going up. So.
And thanks, Lana, for all your research. Cheers. You hear that?
Oh, cheers. Cheers. You know what?
Cheers.
In that case,
did you get something?
Let me just go grab my twisted tea.
Let's do a proper cheers.
We'll do a proper one. Hold on one second, then I'll make it proper. Oh, let's see what we got here. 40s all around.
Goodbye, 2023. Yeah. You always say that people see you next year.
Yeah, see you next Tuesday. Now what?
No, I hope you guys were able to watch last night, or if you weren't, got it on replay. Hi, everybody.
All right, let's do this.
Oh my God, Lana, do you know how many people are getting married today?
Probably a lot.
Because it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that your tweet? You don't have ice in it? Cheers. Cheers to everybody here. Cheers to you for doing all of your research.
I'm just flexing on them. All right, let's do this. We're going to be picking up where we took you guys back to 2020 or 2012, 2013. We're going to have Bella read us something that is straight talking about a couple of the instances that happened and stories that people had and what kind of transpired with the police in Moscow and the university, and how now here in just 2023 things were being, I guess you could say, handled. But I think this needs to be way more talked about. It needs its own little platform here. So this is what the 5 episodes is all about. So if you want to go ahead and take us on home here to kick it off there.
Okay, so this is an article that finally made it in 2018 after Miss Jameson had written her blog on Tumblr that we read last night. It's Details Emerge on Accused UI Athlete is the title. So it says, In 2012, the Moscow Police Department investigated an incident in which University of Idaho football player Joffrey Level allegedly purchased alcohol for two underage women and allegedly had sexual intercourse with a highly intoxicated 19-year-old who told police she had no memory of the night.
It's kind of echoey. I'm gonna just cut you off. It's kind of echoey. Not sure why, but
Okay, let me check my settings. Talk to everybody. I don't know why. Is it still doing it?
It's better now. Let's see. It was just cutting in and out a little bit. So go ahead.
I wonder why. Okay, let me know if it does it again. Maybe I can't do this. I'm going. Okay. It's a live. So Jahari Level allegedly purchased alcohol for two underage women and allegedly had sexual intercourse with a highly intoxicated 19-year-old who told police she had no memory of the night or having sex with Level, according to police reports obtained by the Daily News. Level was charged with and pleaded guilty to purchasing alcohol for a minor on January 15th, 2013, according to the Idaho Repository. He was not charged with any other crimes. The incident occurred several months before Level was accused of sexually harassing UI distance runner Maggie Miller and a member of the women's Vandal diving team, Miss Jamison, in 2013, according to an Idaho Statesman report published March 8th. Level was kicked off the football team 16 days after an alleged SA was reported by Jamison, according to the Statesman. The UI athletic department did not become aware of the 2012 investigation until this year, after the 2013 alleged incidents became public following a January 30th blog posted by Jamison. UI Assistant Athletic Director Mike Walsh told Daily News on Wednesday. And when they say January 30th, they're talking 2018 if you weren't here last night. So it happened in 2012, 2013. She wrote the blog in 2018. The accusations from 2013 and the alleged mishandling of the slow response by the UI athletic department have sparked hundreds of UI students to call for UI Director of Athletics Rob Spears' firing. Jamison told the Statesman she met on April 25th, 2013 with Spear, Moscow Police Campus Division Commander David Limitz, football coach Paul Petrino, and Susan Steele, who was the academic coordinator for the swimming and diving team, and detailed all of her interactions with Level and what she'd seen of Miller's encounter. Jamison detailed in her 2013 experience of alleged harassment and unwanted physical contact by Level on a friend's Tumblr blog on January 30th. When that was first brought to light through the blog post, there was a conversation with Moscow police asking for clarification that there was any other incidences involving Level, Walsh said. At that point, Walsh said it was brought to Spears' attention by Limitz, who is now retired and was unable to be reached for comment, that there had been an alcohol infraction in November of 2012 involving Level. Walsh told the Daily News that Spears said, had the 2012 indictment been brought to his attention at that time, he would have prepared an incident report without exception. The 2012 incident. According to his report, WMAC found a 19-year-old woman mumbling incoherently.
Okay, so please listen to this. Listen, this is important. Okay.
With drool dripping out of her mouth as she sat by her friend on a couch and slipped into unconsciousness. The woman's friend told police they had attended a birthday party for Level that night, according to the report. She said the two women and Level stopped by a liquor store where they, because they were underage, gave Level $40 to purchase a bottle of peach-flavored Ciroc vodka. A report filed by Lements on November 27, 2012, said the police obtained video of Level purchasing alcohol November 14th at a liquor store. MPD Corporal Lindsay McIntosh also responded to the scene and filed a report dated November 15th, 2012. She also reported finding an unconscious and highly intoxicated woman. According to her report, the woman's eyes were rolled back in her head and her breathing was slow and labored. McIntosh reported she immediately called an ambulance, which transported the woman to Gritman Medical Center. McIntosh, who responded to the hospital later that night, indicated the woman had significant bruising on both sides of her neck, measuring approximately 3 to 4 inches in length, that ran from the base of her collarbone to halfway up her neck, according to her report. She also wrote the woman had long scratches along her back that did not break the skin. The woman's friend and Level both told police the bruises were hickeys Level inflicted on the woman while they were making out, the report said. Womack's reports included a similar quote from the doctor, adding, the doctor also said, "We could not state the bruising or scratches were anything other than what Lavelle and the friend claimed, nor were there any claims of anything illegal other than consuming alcohol underage occurring." Level told McIntosh the intoxicated woman was his girlfriend, but she told police that was not the case, and that her friend who was with her at the apartment was hooking up with Level, according to McIntosh's report. The report said the intoxicated woman said she did not remember having any sexual contact with Level that night. She was charged with MIP 2 days after the incident. And I think MIP is minor in possession.
And
Is that right,
consumption,
Ella?
possession. Minor in consumption, minor in possession. MIP, yep. Minor in possession, yep. She was charged with minor in possession. Just like the girl was charged in the 2022 body cams that we have, the night of the homicides for Idaho4, how that girl was charged with minor. She was charged.
So Level buying the alcohol and then doing all this, because the girl, you'll see. The intoxicated woman's friend, who police said initially was uncooperative because she did not want Level to get into trouble, told police days later, according to Lemet's report, she had witnessed sexual acts between the intoxicated woman and Level. The friend told police she closed the door to the bedroom the two were in and left to give them privacy. According to Womack's report, based on Level's description of how much the woman drank that night.
Again, this is based on everything that we're reading is based on a report, and we know how Moscow Police Department and the authorities do reports. I would love to be able to hear from these two women right now today. Go ahead.
According to Womack's report, based on Level's description of how much the woman drank that night, according to Level's the perpetrator, she may have consumed approximately 18 to 21 shots of 80 proof vodka in a 2.5 hour time period. According to McIntosh's report, the officer explained to the woman her options for a wellness and SA nurse examiner exam, also known as a R-kit, but she said the exam would most likely not be necessary. The report does not indicate whether the woman took the exam. According to McIntosh's report, when McIntosh asked the woman about the marks on her neck, she said she had no idea, but her neck was very sore to the touch. McIntosh showed the woman her bruises with a mirror, the report said. She immediately panicked and her heart rate went so high that one of the nurses came in to check, McIntosh reported. This is sick, okay? Moscow Police Chief James Fry directed questions.
What was that name again? What was that name again?
MPD Chief Fry, James Fry,
Okay.
directed questions regarding the 2012 case to MPD campus captain Tyson Barrett,
Who was taken off the Idaho4 case, by the way. Go ahead.
Barrett said Wednesday he had not read the report in some time, but he said the intoxicated woman's friend walked in multiple times on her and level having consensual sex. It clearly outlines that they both said it was consensual and that it was hickeys, Barrett told the Daily News. He said MPD campus commanders work directly with the UI's Office of Civil Rights and Investigations and typically report to the OCRI when a student has been in the hospital, depending on if the case involved criminal activity. He was unsure whether the 2012 incident had been reported to OCRI. If we were to go to something and it was consensual, then typically we're not going to get into people's business and report that, Barrett said. Barrett said the UI Student Code of Conduct in 2012 did not apply to cases that occurred off campus. That has since changed, he said. And that's it. So if you guys didn't get, so the woman that's sitting next to the intoxicated woman who's slipping in and out of consciousness, did I skip that part? Because I swear there was a part that said they were hooking up, and I don't remember. I didn't read that, did I?
Well, yeah. So her and her friend. Yeah, no, you did.
I did. Okay.
Basically, this girl was covering for this kid because she thought he was going to get in trouble. I personally think that that's not even the story. I personally think that there's a lot of things that were going on, and that people get threatened all the time, and that girl was probably told X, Y, and Z. And now this was a separate incident from the Jamison incident.
Right. Okay.
And the reason that we want to bring this to we want this to surface is because this name, Jahari Level, came across the desk of the police department multiple times. And that's what the police said. Well, it's not the first time we've seen this name or heard this name. And you have a doctor that's examining somebody saying, I can't rule out that it could be hickeys, but I've never seen something like this before, but this was a different situation, but involved the same, alleged perpetrator. And let's see, in 2018, so she was there, Jamison was there. We have a diver, we have a runner. Don't know if you guys even know anything about this, but during the Idaho4, before the Idaho4 murders happened in October of 2022. So this was then, I'm fast forwarding us to a recent year, which was this past, within almost a year. The volleyball team made numerous complaints, again, in 2022, in October, leading up the month before the murders. And so I mentioned it yesterday and said that one of the volleyball girls, and it was heavily redacted and it was trying to, keep hush hush. But come to find out, there were multiple girls being bullied and harassed by their head coach. And this all, again, nobody heard about any of this. This is all getting pushed under the rug because in November, when the murders happened, it was like, okay, nobody was talking about anything to do with that. Not saying that the murders happened to hush that up, but it's been a problem on U of I's campus before Cumer Scott Green got there. Then here, Cumer Scott Green starts advocating for himself in 2018 and saying, and we've always wondered, myself, Bella, we're like, what do you mean he needs to come make this campus safer, or he wants to get it back to being safe? What was going on in the University of Idaho that was just so unsafe that, well, here
it was one of his top priorities.
We start digging up what's been unsafe, and what's been unsafe is people not doing their jobs when stuff's being reported, and it getting buried, because if it gets reported and it gets out there, then it's a bad look for the university, you know? So his old plan in 2018 and 19, when he's advocating to become the next president, which he does become the 19th president, and he's there in 2019, what ends up happening is they do a complete overhaul of a lot of the athletic positions, including the athletic director. Rob Spears, like Britney Spears, he was fighting to keep his job. He was fighting to keep his job, saying that, you know, I wasn't informed. The policy change, like, you know, so he was explaining he has a daughter. There's actually a clip I'm going to play it in the episode 3 that we do, where we're going to hear from Rob himself. But it's about getting out this information. And here, all of a sudden, Rob gets fired. You have Cumer Scott Green in his interview. The reason he stood out from other candidates was because he said that he was going to bring in a diverse management team. He believed in inclusion and diversity, and how he was going to do and show that was by example. He was only by example. And so he was going to put this team together around him and with the faculty that, you know, obviously he loved the faculty that was in place, but if people were going to be, you know, retiring, we're going to lead by example, and therefore his management team is going to be a reflection of what he believes in. So that's him leading by example. Well, I've done some digging, and I have this is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services, because I have no idea what this man is talking about when he wants to lead by example with diversity and inclusion, and to so much so that Cumer Scott Green gets hit with lawsuits for social injustice that's going on campus. There was things that were like, you have people on campus that are promoting, like, basically hate towards other people based on their affiliations with either, you know, church, color of their skin, what they believe in, things like that. Anyways, Cumer Scott Green comes in, and he's this, you know, he's the president, right? So he fires the athletic director. Rob gets fired.
Dr. Rob Spear
gets fired.
Why do they refer to him as doctor sometimes and not sometimes?
You know, who cares? I don't know. You know, you can dig on that. So they get an interim athletic director. Now, something that I thought, obviously everybody thought was interesting, is why does a guy who's a billionaire, he's worth $2.2 billion, why does he want to come to, I get it that these are his roots. He, you know, obviously his house is the 1122 King Road house for, you know, some of his childhood where he grew up, right?
Daddy and his daddy. Yeah.
Like, but why would he want to come back, go from, you know, basically running law firms? He was never a lawyer. Okay. And he's running law firms. So he's a really good manager almost. He is not an education, anything. And then here he goes, he's leading, you know, an institution. But the two things that he has been known for right now is managing these huge law firms. And he's not a lawyer, right? So that's interesting. Lawyers usually don't do well with taking orders from other people, especially if they're not like,
that's what he said, right?
Yeah, he even said that. So, and then here you got a guy, same type of situation. Now let me go and let me run a university, and I've never been involved with, you know, the education
academics.
Nothing, yeah. So,
and take a huge pay cut.
Yeah, well, actually, I think people think that he took a huge pay cut, and we're going to get into that a little bit more in episode 3 with talking about where he's been working and stuff like that. But my question is when we get into that is he able to make money still with other, just because he's getting paid through his position with the university? Was there a clause that says you can't do X, Y, and Z, and you can't be making money, you know, you can't have other income? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into all that. But what ends up happening is that they put in this interim athletic director, and he was literally loved by all the locals. The locals knew him. He actually ran little kid clinics, and his name is Pete
Isaacson.
Isaacson.
He
Pete
also
Isaacson.
ran a Special Olympics type of sporting event every year as well.
Really, from the outside, and I have no reason to believe that he's not. From the outside looking in, they got this interim, and by all accounts, it was only going to be an interim until the position was filled.
Right.
And Pete Isaacson, like I said, loved by everybody. Nobody, I can't find anybody that can say a bad word about this guy, right? Well, the unfortunate thing is that Pete Isaacson suffered what the papers called a sudden accidental death.
It's not weird, you guys.
I was like, what?
Sudden accidental.
A sudden, you hear sudden death, sudden tragedy, but then they said there was a accidental death.
And he was 48. So that's
48 years old. 40 years old. And it's been all hush hush about it. Now, while looking into it, it's almost like one of these situations. I was like, this happened in 2020, in January 2020. Literally right after Cumer Scott Green is, he starts that fall, 2019. So he has just a couple months until it becomes 2020 in January.
Right.
And boom, here we go, this death. And to this day right now, no idea. There's been rumors that he had a heart attack. Well, a heart attack is an accidental death. That's medical.
Right.
But now people have heart attacks when there's actually people that do drugs and then they suffer a heart attack from if they're in a situation where we were told that our uncle was like a friend of the family who we called Uncle Sam. He actually was the lottery guy and went out there and called all the numbers on Friday nights or whatever. He blew his brains out with cocaine, so he had a heart attack and died, right? So we never knew about the cocaine part until we were obviously older. But we're out there looking at, oh, thank you so much there, Nancy.
We love Nancy S. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Hope
Year. 2024
is really good for you and your puppies, Nancy S.
Yes. And so something that's been on the back of my mind with that is that they have all these issues surrounding the athletic department. I don't know how deep involved this guy was, but did he know things? Was he set to possibly, if there was anything that this guy could testify, did this guy know? Did this guy know anything? So I'm just, curious of the death and praying that it had nothing to do with anything sinister at that campus. Because I've never heard of a sudden accidental death and it being a heart attack, but out of respect for, obviously this man's family himself, we don't know the situation, but we thought it was very, very strange that we dug, and we couldn't find, we have access to Facebook pages that, knew Pete and his family very well. And, I have a bunch of pictures of stuff that I'm choosing not to show. That's not what this is about, but it's about, making sure, in my opinion, that this had nothing to do with that he didn't know things, and that did his death, that's all sudden, have anything to do with what was going on that campus. And if that's the case in any way, shape, or form, these people are just sick. But prayers for his family. Like I said, it happened in 2020. So then here we go to Cumer Scott Green, a little bit more about Cumer, and here he comes in and it's like, okay, I want to talk about Jody Walker. Who is Jody Walker? We don't hear the name Jody Walker at all during the Idaho4 case. And yet, guess what? Jody Walker is the fixer. She's the PR person. She's the person that's gonna write stuff up and save your reputation and change things and make things like this or that. So I thought to myself, I'm like, I think I'm probably one of the, if not the creator that's probably covered so much of this case.
True.
How in the world have I not come across the name Jody Walker? until the demolition of the house, right?
Right.
So what do you think about that?
I think if she's the one that put Cumer Scott Green on my radar, she sucks at her job. If she is a PR person, being someone with that degree and working high level PR, she sucks at her job, because that was the thing that made me go, I can't even believe. I thought the choices that were made by Cumer when the murders first happened were atrocious, and it made me not. It was to me, it shone a light that enrollment was priority, and not the image was priority, and it wasn't the sensitivity of what had happened on campus. That was not the priority. And as somebody who does PR, I would have advised so hard against, and I don't know if he went against his PR people or they advised him of that, but Cumer, they led you astray.
So we did more digging into Jody Walker, because in order to get to, like, you know, who said, yeah, we should definitely have Cumer Scott Green as our president, you know. They said that he interviewed well. They said that he was obviously opposite of what the candidate would look like, and he was like the outside, you know, he wasn't like a front runner, right?
He wasn't the typical choice, is what everyone said. Everyone else who was running had their backgrounds in academia. He didn't. But then when he did become and was announced president, in an auditorium filled with staff, students, and alumni, they were chanting, you know, U of I or whatever their little war chant is. I have no idea, because I don't care about school spirit.
Yeah, that's my fight song. He knows. So going back to deep diving Jody Walker, it came to my attention that Jody Walker, she thought that in her spare time, which this is so interesting, she thought that in her spare time, she not only was going to save people's reputations, right, and do the PR for the university, but now she is going to be a volunteer EMT that would be in ambulances when there would be calls on suspicious like circumstances. So was Jody Walker, okay, was she there during the call 1122 King? Because I can tell you this, Jody Walker would be, if you're a volunteer EMT, guess what you get to do? You're one of the first people there, you're on scene, and then what can you start doing immediately? PRing. She's an EMT, volunteer EMT, riding in ambulances with people that could be possible, like victims, or maybe they're perpetrators that needed help as well, and they take care of you until they go ahead and they throw you, but
throw you
in the slammer, but
throw you somewhere. Where are we getting thrown?
And I'm just like, well, geez, isn't that convenient to go be part of the EMT squad over there in Moscow, the Pullman area, and be literally first on scene for stuff that you need to possibly clean up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think that is just
Hollywood.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, that's like old school Hollywood. That's what PR.
If you think about it, like, I think that's smart as hell. Like, it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, hey, throw her ass in that ambulance and let her just be like I'm here just to help out, or I'm just an EMT in training, whatever they're saying. But you guys feel free to look up her credentials. Feel free to look up everything about Jody Walker. Yeah. And so then we come back to this situation where, okay, Scott Green says that everybody knows that athletics, first of all, is a huge moneymaker for campuses, for schools. And if you don't know that, well, welcome to the game. Now you do. Athletics is huge. Athletics makes you money. All right. So with that said, the hush hush around, it's just so sad to think that this was happening. You heard about these stories in like the 80s, 90s, but to hear this stuff that 2012, 2013, like I was playing in 2000 to 2005, and they were on it already then. So how far behind is the University of Idaho, or even worse, how bad is the University of Idaho? I would never go to a school that on any type of level tried to brush stuff like this under a rug. You know what the worst thing I felt like the University of Cincinnati brushed under the rug was Bob Huggins getting a DUI. Like that was like they didn't want, that bad publicity. But guess what? The president of the University of Cincinnati fired him over getting that DUI.
Well, can you tell us
the guy made millions for the school. The guy made millions for the school, and Bob Huggins couldn't even overcome that at the University of Cincinnati. So here we talk about Idaho, and I'm sorry, but if anybody knows anything about the University of Idaho, it is a small Division I school that's not even able, like they don't play NCAA D1 for like football or anything like that. It is on what's the dam?
What they call Big Sky? Was that baseball?
Yeah, because different sports could be different things, but that's your moneymaker.
It is.
Here,
explain why.
Because that's your revenue. That's what brings in your money. That's what all the tailgating, how people go to the games, like they're spending money on gear, tickets, everything. It's just that's your revenue. Your and then the big thing is that you're getting paid from the NCAA and also like the contracts with like ABC, NBC, Fox from your
ESPN.
Yeah, you're getting paid multiple different ways. And then when you go and get your ass kicked by someone that's a great school, they pay you to come, go to LSU, play, we'll come there, we'll do a one home and one away, back-to-back years. And we're going to pay you a couple $1 million to come get your ass kicked, basically. But it's a huge way to make money. And they have to be able to compete a little bit so that, bigger schools are going to want to take that on, and that's how you get paid. And the school gets
that's like boxing or like WWE, so you get paid to like lose. What?
Yeah, you're walking in there, unless you're Michigan when you take on what year was it when they lost
OSU?
No, that happened.
I don't know, you guys. I called Tom. What's his name? Is it really Bradley or Bradley or Bradley? Whatever. I don't know.
We all know. She doesn't know sports,
but can you explain what Title IX is? What we were talking about last night to people who weren't here, and what that means to this case.
Well, there's a lot of things that Title IX brought, but there was a policy change, and they acted like they didn't know about this policy change, which is. You know how they're always trying to distinguish the 1122 King Road house that it was, it's an off-campus house.
Right.
Well, it's very convenient when they want to say it's off-campus versus, it's on our campus, it's part of Greek Row.
Right.
They're using that to pick and choose when when it's convenient for their narrative to say about that. But guess what? Title IX says athlete versus athlete. You do something to an athlete, I don't care if it's on campus, off campus, it doesn't matter. You are still on the hook. And Appalachian State, there you go. Thank you there, Joshua. Appalachian State. It was a game back in the day that Michigan was supposed to kill them.
Oh my God, he wrote App State, and that's what you think when I see App State. I'm like, there's an app for a state. What are you talking about?
Girl, come on now. Yeah, exactly. This is why I handle the sports and you handle the writing.
I don't at all.
Tom Bradley, Lana. Is that Tom Bradley? That's who she thought Tom Brady was, okay?
I mean, I don't know, but it's fine. I don't even know what he plays for. But okay, so explain to us. So when you are an athlete for a school, you're also representing, when you're not on campus, you're representing your campus because you're an athlete, right? I mean,
yeah, you're a role model. There's things like we have to, and it's still a thing today. You do a lot of stuff with giving back to the community. So there's a lot of community service that you do. Habitat for Humanity was a big thing that we did at Cincinnati. Okay. We built a damn house for a family. All the athletes get together. It's part of that. At the beginning of the year, you have a big old meeting, and it's called the compliance meeting.
That's right.
And at that compliance meeting, you're reminded of what you're basically signing to, and they own you. Like the university owns you.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when they say that you're a student athlete, you're really an athlete student.
Okay. And that's true.
You are. I mean, I think for women, like for someone to tell me that I couldn't continue on in the education program because it was during our practice times every day. There was a lot of classes that happened for the education program to be like a teacher, was from 12 during the 12 to 3 time frame. And then after, that's when we had practice every day for basketball. Not to mention we're on the road a lot. You could have note takers on the road. You could have note takers in the classroom and stuff like that.
And when you say note takers, you guys, I just learned this like when we were like 3 weeks ago. I'm like, what? Please tell us what that, for us that aren't athletes, that were doing other things, what's a note taker? Sheesh. My gosh.
Well, I think that that's how it should be, though.
Sure, you're bringing money.
When you're traveling and I'm forced to miss classes, I need to have a note taker there, right? So you had a note taker that went to your classes for you and took the notes that the teacher, or if you just went to the teacher and maybe they had like, here you can have the notes because they already have them and you got them. So you'd have a note taker, but then on the road you could also have the university. Depending on the situation and the circumstances, we were gone 21 straight days the one year, and we put it around spring break. So, I mean, we missed like 12 days of class, and then like 10 of the days was spring break or something like that. But this is D1. I mean, it is, but it's, so it's,
wow.
But yeah, like we were gone a lot. You have your away games, like, but for golf, I didn't have one home tournament, and tournaments lasted for like 4 days. You had a practice round, and then you had 3 consecutive days of 18 holes. Sometimes you had a practice round, and then you had 36, depending on what conferences. Conferences did it differently.
Wow.
And then like the Big Ten did 27, 18. So you played 27 holes in the first day, and then you had 18.
I have no idea what you're saying.
It's just, but you're getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Getting out, stretching, hitting balls. It's a shotgun at 7. You're not getting off the course until like it's dark at like 8. And I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to focus for 36 holes walking, not riding carts? Okay. We're walking, and I'm at Notre Dame or I'm at Michigan. I hated playing over there. First of all, Michigan's course sucks. Okay. It's the hilliest thing you've ever seen in your life. And you want me to walk that, it's like over 7,000 yards.
The hilliest.
12, 2 times, no caddies. We would like just dump out all of the stuff out of our bag to have like the lightest bag you could possibly strap on. Payne's an awesome job.
You have note takers, but no caddies.
I know, right? So I was over here, like, I was like, Mom, Dad, like, dude, I can't stay focused. Like, I'm trying to play, because you're competing, so you're in these tournaments. And I'm like, I'd get down to the last 9 holes out of my, 36 day. I'm like, girl, just give me a 7 on every hole. Like, get me off of this course right now.
Deal what that even means.
She has no idea what that means, but some of you guys
give me a 7.
Yeah, just
what, a 7 iron?
That's a horrible score. But
it was a score, not a. Sheesh.
Yeah, you're playing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to win freshman of the year. I'm trying to win, to go to the NCAA tournament. We're trying to win tournaments. We're trying to place in the top 3. We're trying to do stuff. And then basketball. So golf is both fall and spring sport with the tournament and being in the spring. And then basketball is obviously a winter sport. And the stuff that we would do for that is just, in both sports, you'd have to go and put in so many hours of what's called study tables. And you have to check in, sign in. And based on whatever grade level you were at, like if you had like a 3.0, you only had to do so many hours per week. If you had, a 2.0, like shit, you're in there a lot. But people that were like, I had Dean's List and I was on the honor roll. So
you're allowed to have a 2.0?
You have to have a 2.0 to play, yeah. But now they even changed it. They changed it. That's a C average. But now they changed it.
I know what that is. Holy moly. I didn't even know. I thought you had to have like a 3.0 to be a sport person.
No, you have to have a 2.0 play. But now you have to have a 2.0 plus. You have to have so many credits towards your graduation. Otherwise, you're ineligible. So, a
lot of pressure.
But at the end of the day, where all of this takes place, guys, is all in the same area. So after you're practicing for your 3 hours, then you go and lift, then you shower. So you just basically, there's 4 hours right there. Then you had class all, so I'm walking out at 4. Then I have to go and put in my study times, my study tables. Well, where that happens is all the athletes go to that area. So let's say that I had a run-in with my athletes that try to just do this to me. I have to see these pieces of shit like every single day, and because it's a mandatory for me to be in there.
Right.
So to hear what these girls were going through.
And can you explain that? Because we covered this last night. So the Kibbe Dome, if you guys have heard of that, is where all the athletes at U of I have to do everything.
You have like your workout area there. You have study tables there. You have your locker room,
advisors, your coaches.
Your advisors. Yep. And then, so when you have to put in, you got to go see each athletic trainers. We all have the same trainers for the most part. At least they were always in the same area. Like you had your football train. Each team had their own managers in there, but the sport medicine, they oversaw all of us. So when we would go and if I had to go get my knee worked out or I had to go get my ankle or something, which never happened, knock on wood. I got some, but all of this stuff is in the same area. And I mean, I would kick it all the time with our base. I dated a baseball guy. So like, we'd always be like, hey, what time's your stuff today? Or, because you always had the same schedule. Like it wasn't like, it'd be very rarely that you would do something that wasn't like an off time for you. So because your schedule just regulated, like, which I like.
So it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're like basketball or golf, and then someone's baseball. You're going to run into each other. So when we're hearing about Jamison, who's a dive team, Division I athlete.
And the track team, I would see them all the time.
When we're talking about a track
soccer.
And we're talking about Level, who's a football player, they are going to run into each other at that Kibbe Dome. And that's what she was saying yesterday in her blog, right?
Mm-hmm. Is it that, I just wanted this guy away from me. I wanted this guy not to be a vandal. And I know what she means when she says that, because it means something when you're representing the university in the capacity that I believe athletes should represent the university. I wish I was playing now. I mean, these kids are getting paid now. We couldn't have jobs back then. It's a totally different world, but
you couldn't
to know that this was happening, I didn't want to join a sorority.
I know.
That
same.
I didn't even go to a party. Like I would have to truly think back if I ever went to any fraternity or sorority. I mean, there was a girl on my golf team though that was like, I'm gonna rush something. I can't remember what it was, and I was like, I don't even know what
wait, she was allowed?
Our golf coach was, he basically, he treated us like adults, which I liked. It was like, hey, you get your stuff done, you get your stuff done. If you don't, it is what it is.
What, then you're off the team?
No, okay. I mean, it's like anything. Like, if you think you have time for that when you want to practice and be good at a sport, like, and then my coach always said there's 3 things that you can do at our university: school, partying, and sports. If you try to do all 3, you're going to be shitty at all 3. Master 2 of them, go for 2 of them, and you're going to be good at 2 out of the 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So pick the 2 that you want. But when you try to master all 3, you're going to be shitty at all 3. And I was like, okay, so partying and sports. All right, here we go.
School and partying, Dean's List the whole way. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you got your sport. And now if you're going to choose partying over school or school over partying, and I don't know. People could say athletes got, that we got some treatment. I think that we should get some treatment. I do. I think that we got special treatment because we were doing special things. But when you abuse that privilege, then you're fucked and get the fuck out. But I was at the University of Cincinnati, and nothing like this. I could tell you this. If we would have gotten wind of something like this, we would stand up for, like, if somebody from the track team said that this happened to them, we would have raged. We would have been backing her,
Well, she does say that her team did back her, that she did have that support, and she was lucky.
But see, like our boys teams, like our baseball guys are so protective of us. Like the offensive line football team was so protective of, it was just, I just felt like you didn't fuck with athletes. You wouldn't, I don't think anybody should be fucked with, but to hear that this guy's an athlete and that he was targeting other athlete women, like, I'm sorry, but every athlete that heard about this should have beat that motherfucking kid's ass. That's how I feel like, because not should this ever happen to anybody, but I'm saying, like, that's like how I feel about sororities and fraternities, right? That's your little knit family. Okay. And when you hear about somebody going after like a girl in a sorority, and you hear about people doing things to people like sexual assaults, and you should beat that ass. Not like you shouldn't be protecting those people. You should be looking at it like none of this should happen anyways. But if anything, I'm going to have the protection and the backing of my family, and that would be my other athletes. And you know, you're representing. I don't think that you should wear the same jersey that I'm wearing. I don't think that you should wear the Bearcat name across your chest. And I just think that I don't think I know, because I still go to our alumni stuff. I still hang out with all my roommates and teammates and friends. And I can just promise you, I can promise this, if guys or girls would have known that was going on, they would have went hard against that. Get out. You know, we're not going to back you. We're not going to hide that from you.
And can you talk about this for a second? We did this last night, if anyone missed it. This happened 2012, 2013 year. Where did Level go after UI?
Well, the only reason he was able to do this, and this is big.
Okay, yeah, true.
The only reason that Level was able to do this is because it was being hush-hush. It was being pushed under the rug. In 2012 and 2013, they, in the summer, only because, guys, this girl comes forward, Jamison says that this guy came up behind me, grabbed basically, I don't know if he said what, did you tell him what he did?
This wasn't in this article. Do you want to talk about it?
We'll get to that, I guess. We'll get to that.
Well, she
was only believed because down the road, evidence would surface in the surveillance camera video from the bar.
I can't believe they had it.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think it was buried for a little bit until it couldn't be buried anymore. That's just my personal opinion. Otherwise, if that would have never surfaced, then, you know, she doesn't have any proof, because that's what it's all about. It's he said, she said, or she said, or he, you know. And to me, and she talks about that in her blog, and she says, I feel so strongly for the people that can't prove their cases, because it happens in like the bedroom of, like, let's say someone's house, you know, there's no cameras there.
It's your word against your perpetrator's word. And we covered that last night. If you guys missed it, you should go listen to it. But yeah, it's very powerful. What she wrote is incredibly powerful. Very,
very powerful. And I love how she, and I hope that we have the chance to honestly have her on here, because how she stuck up for the other females, because it wasn't just her. There was like 8 or 9 people. Okay. This was an epidemic. And I still think, any campuses that allow this in any capacity, because who lies about this stuff?
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, but people that do lie about this, I think you need a padded room for the rest of your life, because you're the reason that true victims wouldn't be believed. You know,
100%.
like Amber Heard, fuck you. I would love to walk into a bar where Amber Heard was, and I happen to bump into her, and I had a drink in my hand. That I would have to go buy another one. But there's things in life that you don't do, and saying stuff to say that you were a victim when you weren't. Like, you're ruining it for everybody else out there that truly to slap in the face to people that are the victims.
It's hard enough as it is for some people love to play victim, but for some people to call themselves or feel like you're a victim, it's hard enough to come forward with that. Anyways, what Miss Jamison did was incredibly brave, and what she wrote was incredibly brave, and she did stick up for a bunch of people. As you heard in what I just read, Miss Miller was assaulted by Level as well. And, you know, some people are better at being stronger, and actually stronger women are vilified. The stronger you are, the more you're vilified as not having feelings, and because you're able to take it, right? If you're going to get up here and cry, then everyone's going to feel sorry for you. But if you can stand up and have a backbone, then you're looked at as something different. And it's just sad, because we're not all made the same, you know. But kudos to Miss Jamison for writing the blog. It got attention in 2018. It's getting attention through you guys and through us now. And this person level was never.
Oh yeah, I
charged.
wanted to talk about that.
Go ahead, let us know.
Yeah, the reason he was able to go and play at Stony Brook and Stony Brook took his ass is because this wasn't out there yet. In 2012 to 2013, when this had happened, they didn't have him back, and they dismissed him in the summertime, right before the season would have started for football in the fall. The football coach reaches out, apologizes to Miss Jameson, and he was able to transfer and play at a shitty ass school, Stony Brook, where he deserves to play because
shit.
He's just shit. But he would have been able to do that had all of this been out there. And that's, to me, that's a travesty. That's, but they don't want stories like this out there. And this is what Cumer Scott Green, when everybody wants to talk about why he came here to the University of Idaho and what he's talking about, and that's what this episode is about, is what brought him here, that he is saying he doesn't think the campus is safe. This is what he's talking about.
Right.
It isn't safe. It wasn't safe. And who knows if it's still safe today. But I have body cam of what that one sorority house looked like. I don't think that's safe. I would never have my daughter in that. I would never have my kid on a campus where I felt that the police had to okay stuff through other people before they could do something. Like, no, you just police. You go by protocol. Whatever your procedures are, you don't have to, I got to call on somebody. Oh my God, do you know what name this is? Do you know who this is? You know whose kid this is? You know how much money they give at this university? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit about what you have, what you don't have. Teach your kid to how to be a good human being. And we wouldn't have any problems. Start being parents, And I think that came with a little bit of an epidemic. Maybe kids were having kids, but I see more entitlement than anything. So I don't even know if that's even the problem versus entitlement. But he said that it wasn't safe. Cumer Scott Green said it wasn't safe. And guess what, guys? It wasn't safe. But they buried all of this shit that was going on in 2012, 13. This is only one story of the 8 or 9. And think about the people that didn't say anything.
Or other sports that didn't say anything.
And think about the Greek life, the sororities and the fraternities. And it's like, you don't want to say anything because you're getting pressure from every which way, but I'd rather talk to people and ask them why they did say something or why they didn't. I'd rather not guess. Let's just hear it. I want to hear from the people, and I want to give them a platform to say, hey, if you want a place that you can talk, it's here. Here we are. We're here for you. But that's kind of where I wanted to leave this episode at, is to get the ball rolling with people getting their whistle wet with the story and where we're going to be taking it here with the next 3 episodes. Because episode 3, episode 3 really quick is just, we're going to go through all of the places that Cumer Scott every year that after he graduated, we're going to start when he was born, and we're going to take it on through a little timeline of everywhere he's been. And him coming and being the president here, it's a head scratcher, and we're going to get into that.
I would not expect anything less from you, Lana, starting where he was born. You guys, if you don't know, you're deep diving. If you don't know from the beginning of this case, he is the dog hair in my bra. Like, I do not like Cumer. He is annoying AF because you rubbed me the wrong way from the beginning. But anyways, yes. And if you didn't listen to last night's, I would go listen to it because, again, it's Miss Jameson's blog, and it explains exactly what happened. And it's just messed up, you guys. It doesn't matter if it's an athlete doing it to an athlete, and an athlete doing it to another student, a student doing it to another student. It just shouldn't. And when you are at a school and you're away from home, you look to your advisors, the coaches, whoever, your professors, to take care of you. And when they don't, it's incredibly frustrating. So I feel for all the people, not just women, for anyone who is in that position at that university or any university. So yes, Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you to the mods. Elo just had to step away for a second.
Yes, thank you again. Thank you again to the mods. Thank you again to all the members, the subscribers, the lurkers, haters. You guys are gifted in that as well.
To the people who
Happy New
give
Year. See you guys next year. We'll be seeing you guys tomorrow, but that's considered next year.
next year.
Yep, and that's all I got.
I think everybody has like
I'm
been
Scott
gifted.
Green, and as of today, I'm the
She
19th
wants to
president
say
of the
this.
University of Idaho, and I'm excited to get
I can't
started.
stand this.
Well, the mission of the University of Idaho is the land grant mission, which
Much love,
means
you
that we
guys.
conduct
Happy New Year. Happy
research,
New Year.
teaching,
She wants to
and
dance.
outreach throughout the state.
Watch her kids.
So it's a very important mission. It's one I take very
2024, we
seriously,
coming for
one
you.
I'm very supportive of, and will continue.
We
to
coming
invest
for
in.
your ass.
You know, I'm looking forward to working with our
I love the
faculty. and staff
picture
at
of them in
the
this
university.
car that
We
he got
truly have
designed.
dedicated people here.
Oh,
Show that
they've stuck
picture,
with
show
us
that
through thick and
picture.
thin,
We'll do that.
and came to work every day and
Thank you
provided
guys.
just
Love
a
you guys
great
so much.
education to our
Bill
students.
Clinton,
Thank you, guys.
Bill Clinton's
Students
brother.
and supported them, and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm really looking forward to continuing.
I can't
to work
wait
with
till
them
we hear
and to
Daddy.
build on their success. Every Vandal I've talked to has a personal
And
story.
Barry.
How the University of Idaho elevated them, gave them opportunities that they thought were never possible. It's truly a special place, and again, everyone has a special story, and that's what makes this place different. Go Vandals!
I had to lace my shoes
Swag
for all the
party.
blessings I was chasing.
Drinking with Daddy Green.
I had to lace my shoes for
Swag
all the
party.
blessings I was chasing.
Drinking with Daddy Green.
Oddly enough, back to truth and transparency. I mean,
President Green was just cold booger pimping.